What's up, everybody? My name is Kyle. This is the Nerd BS podcast. I'm here with Alan and Tomas. This is our third episode, and I'm actually surprised not surprised. I'm happy that we've made it this far with the Nerd BS podcast. And Nerd BS stands for bologna sandwich. Not really. That's my attempt at humor. It stands for backstory. We want to give you guys the backstory on pop culture, video games, and tabletop games in general, and a little bit about ourselves when that comes up. This is the Nerd BS podcast. How you guys doing this week?
Nerd bologna sandwich with extra M&Ms and jelly beans.
What?
I love that. Anyways, yeah, I'm Alan. I'm here, and I'm excited to get going on some of this crazy stuff we got happening in this industry. This will be fun.
Yeah, we got some good stuff. This industry.
The sandwich sounds terrible. I'm just gonna point that out, man. That's
What did you say? Jelly beans?
You do you though.
Extra M&Ms and jelly beans.
Have you done that on a sandwich?
I can't say that I have.
I put chips on my sandwich. That's a no-brainer right there.
I mean, any sane individual put chips on their sandwich. Gives you that extra.
You got to put it in there, though.
Oh, yes, yeah, of course.
Exactly. Speaking of crunch, we got a lot of news this week, so let's just jump into the good, the bad, and the ugly. We like to start with the ugly because we want to end with the good, positive note. The ugly this week, which has affected a lot of us, well, a couple of us, I can't speak for everyone, includes basically pre-orders this week. So, Alan, I know you had a pretty difficult time with some pre-orders this week. Why don't you give us some info?
Well, I didn't go for a console, but I went for some Mario pins, and that was a fiasco and a half.
What is a Mario pin?
So we talked about it. I think it was last week, maybe last time.
That's right.
Before Mario 3D All Stars came out, which I do have now, and so does Kyle. When you did these missions that they handed out, which was little stuff, check the website, get your game, buy it. Do the music site, a bunch of other little things. One of the primary ones, well, I thought was primary, was you had to play this app, the Mario Kart Tours, which I think Kyle talked about last week as well.
Yes.
It's a decent app, but the point is on the date for the app, it said it will not unlock until September 29th. So I think a lot of people, including myself, didn't read the fine print. Well, the point is it was going to end way before that, and it only required you to finish all but one. So that one didn't even count. Actually, I don't think it actually said when it was going to end, but it decided to end on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. I got my
22nd.
Copy. Kyle, I think, just got his copy, 22nd. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I thought I heard it was the 21st, but you're the one who got the pins. So
I actually did get them. Yeah, you're right. So there was the Mario Kart Tour, the game that you were supposed to download, which I found out later I was wrong. You didn't even need to download the game to get the pins. It was just an optional mission that, like Alan said, you don't even get credit for it till weeks later. They're already out of the pins. They're sold out. The pre-orders are gone. Yeah. So if you're counting on that to be one of the missions to get this pin, to pre-order the pin, then you're out of luck. I thankfully got a set of it, but
you got some, and I remember I was checking for a little bit because we follow the same person on Twitter, Wario64. Shout out to him, gives me lots of good deals. But I saw it opened up, and immediately I tried to do it, and it was completely impossible. So I was like, I'll just do it later. They gotta have enough pins, right? And it's no big deal. And also, my brother-in-law hadn't got his yet. I was staying at his house. I got my copy. He did not get his copy. Walmart actually made him wait until Monday to be able to get his copy, which he finally did get. Problem is, he didn't have the code in yet. So on his account, it said he hadn't completed all the trials yet. So there was no way he was even going to have a chance. So my theory is that somebody just jumped the gun and accidentally up this thing. It wasn't intentionally put out on that.
Well, do you think they're going to try and re-release it or something?
There's supposed to be a second wave of pins or something, but I don't think they're the same pins. There's been a theory that E3 this last year, or one of the gaming expos, supposed to happen and didn't. there was a huge display of Mario theme that Nintendo was building. There was pictures of it you can find online. It looked really cool. So Project Tinfoil Hats is that they were going to give these pins out at the convention. And that didn't happen. So they had all these pins, and so they used it for this cool little thing. But yeah, now we have this fiasco. There's no more pins. Might be a second wave, but from what I've understood, the second wave doesn't even have the same pins. But speaking about setting it up early, PlayStation 5 pre-orders. Actually, the pre-order started on the same day we recorded our last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was roughly 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they said it was you weren't supposed to be able to pre-order until the September 17th. So most people waited, like your standard person, until the next day. But unfortunately for those people, the night before, some companies decided to start putting them up, and everybody followed suit, and they were gone before the 17th. So it didn't matter. But yeah.
They were gone within minutes.
Yeah, minutes.
So has anyone here pre-ordered a system? Because I don't have the money. I have to wait. But have either of you?
I technically don't have the money, but I was able to pre-order an Xbox because their pre-orders launched when they said they would. Unlike what Alan was talking about the PS5. The PS5 just turned into a crazy fiasco and seemed to piss off a lot of people. And then the Xbox, when it launched, I went in to just try to see if it would work, and I got one on Walmart.com, and they haven't charged me. I'm pretty sure they're going to charge me when it ships, if it ships, but I have a confirmation number and a receipt and all that. So I have an Xbox Series S pre-ordered, which is probably maybe the first time in my life I've ever pre-ordered a console at launch. But again, we talked about this last time. That price, $300. That's that's cheaper than any. Yeah, it's a good deal. You get a Switch for that, but Switch is old news.
And with information that we'll be talking about later, now they have games too. So
yeah, this whole fiasco has been pretty nuts. The crazy thing about it too, and I hope it doesn't happen to you over there, Kyle, but a lot of people have been getting, because a lot of stores have been overselling their pre-orders, and so a lot of people have been getting notices in their email saying that, sorry, you don't have a pre-order anymore because we oversold. And so a lot of people are getting crap out of luck on that, which is really unfortunate. I did not pre-order anything. I'll wait and see what's going to happen, but it's still been an interesting roller coaster to watch on Twitter.
I mean, maybe this will show my age, but do you guys remember the days when you had to wait for Christmas or your birthday to get something that you wanted, like a system? Like, there was none of this pre-order stuff for the 64 or the Super. It was all just like, that's what I want. And, oh man, I hope it's under the tree.
Yeah, I guess when you were a kid.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's amazing how much advantage we have, and yet it's just chaos.
It is, and in the midst of everything else that's going on, it seems to just add a little more confusion and anxiety that, I think we all need to realize it's a video game console. We can live without it for a little bit.
Agreed.
So speaking of video games, though, in the news, there is a company, and I wanted to talk about this. Alan, did you want to just kind of tell us about CD Projekt Red?
Oh, yeah, this popped up today. CD Projekt Red, a company that is responsible for Witcher, I think the entire Witcher series of video games, and the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077. Quite a while ago, they delayed Cyberpunk 2077, claiming that they wanted to avoid crunch. At the time, a couple other companies had gotten in trouble for that.
Describe what is crunch?
Crunch is where you essentially make your workers do quite a bit of overwork to the point where their mental stability can take some repercussions because of it. And they don't usually, as we know in the video game industry, normally when a project is finished, a lot of people are laid off. So people don't want to lose their jobs. So whether or not they're getting overtime doesn't matter anymore. Basically, they assume even if the company says, oh, you can take the time if you want, or you could not do the extra work. What they're really saying is, yeah, you could not do it, but then you won't have a job. This is a very common problem in the video game industry. So when CD Projekt Red decided to say we're going to delay our game and to avoid this crazy practice that a lot of companies do, people kind of praised them for it. And now it's coming closer to Cyberpunk 2077's launch, and apparently the game is not as far along as they anticipated. And so there's been a leaked email that has said basically that I think it was starting this upcoming Monday, leading up to the November release, all developers are on deck and they have to work 6-day work weeks, 1 day off. They're not forcing overtime, but like I said earlier, it's been shown in Rockstar and other companies. Yeah, they say you don't have to stay. They say you can go home, but in reality, it means that if you're not willing to do this, you're not going to keep your job.
Right. This is the bad part of our news this week. And so I think it is bad, but I wanted to say I've had multiple jobs that have asked me to come in on weekends, do these 6-day week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think on the opposite, and you get paid for it. Tomas, we were talking a little bit earlier about this. Like, you are getting paid to do this work. Alan, you kind of mentioned like this has been kind of part of the industry. However, to make the statement going into it that we're not going to be that kind of a company, and then I think the quote here says we've extended all the possible means of navigating the situation. So it sounds like they're desperate and now they're doing it. That's why it's bad. If you go into the company, say, hey, we might do crunch. You should be aware of that. Like, there might be times when you have to just work all the time. Then but when the company says we're not doing that and then they do it, that's bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, also it comes down to, like you were saying, I've worked jobs where I had to do ridiculous things. I was paid overtime for them. Like, for example, I worked at that gas station doing graveyard, and I had to often come back in the mornings just a couple hours after my shift to fill in for someone. And I didn't do it because I loved the job. I did it because I was getting paid extra for overtime, and I still did it. Now, going as far as to cause, psychological problems, that I think is a little excessive. But honestly, I don't know that you need to come forward necessarily and say there's a crunch, because almost every job there's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to crunch. That's just the norm, in my opinion. But to have to force your employees to crunch to the point where they're losing their health and losing their mental stability, I think that's too far. I think your employees should be able to stand up and say something and be able to get paid that extra money for the extra time that they're there. Yeah, so
I think this follows suit to the fact that there are no unions within developers, and because of that, they're treated very poorly, and to the extent where, because there are so many people that want to make video games, it's very easy to say, well, if you won't deal with what we're doing, we'll find somebody else.
Right.
And I know there are people out there who will say things like, well, union men just fill their own pockets and things like that. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, there are some bad unions and bad people who represent unions. But I feel like in the long run, anything that wants to help its workers have a voice is something that's positive.
I
So
agree. And I think if you look at any kind of stuff that's happened in the workplace like this, this is a step towards unionizing. I cannot speak. It's a step towards that, and I see it coming in the not too distant future. And the video game industry is seeing a tremendous time right now. But every industry also has valleys, and for this example, to say we're not going to do it and then go back on what they said, that's a big step that's going to come back and bite them in the rear end. So moving on.
Get out of this.
Yeah.
That's bad, and we'll see how it works out. I do want to play that game, but I don't want it to be at the expense of people's health. In good news this week, though, we have Disney Plus, the app, which is hosting the Mandalorian show, which I cannot wait for. A month away from the time of this recording. I think it's like exactly a month away. I can't wait. But they're offering GroupWatch with that, and so it allows you to watch with multiple people, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Across different interwebs, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hulu has this, I think, and Amazon has this from what I've heard. So Disney Plus is now on those lines. I think Netflix had it at one point and they took it away, which is ridiculous. But I've actually never tried it. And I was debating poking and prodding you guys before we recorded tonight to try it out and just watch something just to see how it worked and if it would be fun. It sounds like it'd be fun. That's something I've thought about many times in the past. It's like it'd be kind of cool if I could watch this Star Wars film with Kyle, but we can't get in the same area code right now. So let's see if we can do it online. But yeah,
I'm gonna say that would be a good like side podcast of just like our own commentary, watching Star Wars or watching Mandalorian, and then just commentating on it.
Yeah,
as we go through, I think, and then doing this, I think that'd be fun.
Agree.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I have Disney Plus. I think it would be fun. I think it would be a great chance to show you, Alan, exactly where the Emperor kind of screwed up with Mace Windu, but it's cool. No, I think it would be great. I think it would be fun to be able to enjoy a movie with your friends without necessarily having to be there with them at the same time, especially in these type of times,
Let's do it. Let's not get together, but watch something together. I can't wait to not see you guys. So that ends the news portion, the good, bad, and the ugly. I almost said week, but we're bi-weekly, so we record every 2 weeks. We record on Wednesdays and we get it out. Try to get out on the weekends. Nothing definitive yet, but latest is about Monday-ish.
We're gonna try for Saturday this
We're
week.
shooting for Saturday. We'll see if it comes out. It's live. People are listening now, Tomas, so no pressure. So let's move on to the pop culture. It's just general pop culture, usually movies, because you can't really go anywhere. This week we're talking about Marvel movies, and actually the lack thereof in Marvel movies. So the current Marvel Cinematic Universe started in 2008 with Iron Man. And what was the last one that came out?
Spider-Man: Far From Home,
Which we are far from a Marvel movie at this point in time. And that came out 2019.
Yep, 2019.
It was such a good movie too. I think I own it. I own one of the 2 live action Spider-Mans.
It was definitely fun, and what I thought they did was a great job with Mysterio. There might be people who want to argue it with me, really kind of forced with the glasses and everything, but still, I think Mysterio was great.
I'll play devil's advocate. What are you talking about?
Oh, I've seen a lot of things where they were like, man, that's such a weak plot point. Why would Spider-Man give him the glasses that Tony Stark gave him and made him responsible for when he's that smart of a kid? Why would he just give him to some random dude he had met from the future?
He's smart. He's smart in the scientific sense. All the time he has such bad social behavior. Like he has a tough time fitting in everywhere. That's his whole character.
Yeah, I just watched the first one.
I think it works great because he was still he looked up to Tony Stark. He became like a father figure to him in those movies, and he had lost him, so he was very confused. And they had that whole elaborate scene that they hologrammed or whatever. My thing is did they have sense too? Did they make smells come out? Because they were in a dump. They that would have smelled. That place would have smelled bad. But anyways,
no. But I mean, like I said, those arguments I don't really put much in, anyways, because I thought the Mysterio was really well placed and really well created with the visual effects, but they weren't magic. Like that was
Yeah.
Mysterio's whole gig. That was his whole gig. So it was a good setup, I thought.
I thought it was really fun and really well done villain that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, and but I bet more people would say Mysterio over Husk. But anyways,
You mean Hush? Husk? What's wrong with you,
terrible.
Husk?
The Corn Master.
Marvel sounds like a great villain, actually. Right up there with Ketchup Man, Ketchup Mustard Man, Condiment Man, Condiment King. Yeah,
Condiment King. Talking about that kind of stuff, we have the Suicide Squad coming up here.
Suicide Squad 2 or
yes, by Gunn.
Is it a
James
sequel?
Gunn.
I at first I thought
It is.
redo. And
So
no, it's like a
what
sequel.
was the Harley Quinn movie? Was that not?
Well,
or was that
okay.
a side story?
I don't know what that has to do with it, but I know that this Suicide Squad, I believe it's a prequel. There's not much information out on it, but it does say something about this being in a war. The setting is a war 60 years ago, so I'm thinking Vietnam.
Mhm.
And
it's DC. I mean, they could just do time travel, right?
it's true. It could be some kind of time travel, but I'm assuming it's some type of prequel. And Gunn, the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy 2, did he do 1 as well? I know he did 2.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Anyways, but he's doing the next Suicide Squad, and I feel like he's a great director for it because he knows how to work comedy into very gritty and serious moments.
Yes, he
Like
did.
in Guardians of the Galaxy. He did number 1.
Yes, he did. And I really enjoyed number 1 a lot. So I hope. I mean, I was hoping that the first Suicide Squad would be good, but I mean, I stand corrected. I did win an Academy Award. So what can I say?
Yeah, it's got an Oscar tied to it. So
like when your choice is between crap or crap, man, it's crap's still gonna win.
But I am excited. I hope they do well. That was the beginning of the end for my passion for DC cinematic movies. Hopefully that gets turned around eventually.
Hopefully.
Well,
yeah.
Hopefully it does, and hopefully it does in time for Black Adam, which is 2021, and they have announced his villains.
I like how excited you are. It's great.
Yep.
Well, I guess Black Adam is the villain, so they're not his villains, they're his hero. Well, anyways, they've announced that he's up against Justice Society. According to
So is Shazam not involved anymore?
Well, he's not going to be in this one because this one's a prequel to Shazam. Okay. IGN has put this out, and it said that the members of the JSA, the Justice Society of America, will be Atom Smasher, Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and someone by the name of Cyclone. I don't know who Cyclone is.
It's going to be like a villain versus a group of heroes? Is that the
Yeah, it's Adam versus the JSA. Yeah, Black Adam versus the JSA.
Sounds fun.
Yeah,
and The Rock is still on board?
Yep, The Rock is still doing it.
Now, my primary question to you, Tomas, is this a live-action movie or is this an animated movie? Because every trailer I've seen so far have been completely animated. I'm starting to wonder.
As far as I have heard, it is live action. The most recent trailer did show animation, though. So, what I heard when it was first announced was live action.
That's what I thought too.
Now that I've seen the trailer and it's animation, I'm kind of like, I don't know. So, according to IGN, it doesn't really make it clear. It just says the new multiverse DC movie. Well, okay, it says it will be the DCEU. So I'm assuming that is going to be the live action.
No idea, but weird that they've only done animated trailers. I don't know.
No idea. Anyways, moving on, we're going to talk briefly about the new Bill and Ted movie that came out which is actually a true sequel to the Bill and Ted's. It's not just a reboot, even though it kind of is. It's an actual true sequel that is 25 years after the previous one, and boy, can you tell just by looking at those boys. Yeah.
That was going to be my question, was how did they age them in the movie? Is it just like
It's 25 years later.
Yeah.
They're grown up.
but they're the same
Same.
dudes?
It's a true sequel. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, go ahead, Kyle. How did you like it?
I thought it was fun, and there's no spoilers here. So if you're
Of course.
worried about that, keep listening. I thought it was fun. I think if you're a fan of the first two, you should watch it at some point. However, if you've never seen the other two and don't plan on it, then you probably won't like this one because it's a lot of fanfare. It's a lot of stuff that you have to know happened in the first two to know what's going on. But there's like a side story that kind of connected with the whole thing that I just was not digging. And I was watching it with my wife, and I remember like, I don't like watching these characters. Go back to Bill and Ted, because this movie's called Bill and Ted, and there's I'm not gonna spoil it, but I bought it for $20 because it's part of the this new thing where you can basically see a theatrical release in your home if you pay the big bucks, which my wife and I watched. That's $10 a person. It's like going to the movies, but I didn't have to put clothes on, and I thought it was worth the price. And then I got to let you watch it as well, Alan.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
I enjoyed it. Same thing. I think they did a really good job at aging the characters. At first, I was a little worried they would just be trying to completely portray the same character again, but they are 25 years older. So I think they did a really good job at
Yes.
at making it so they kind of matured, but they're still Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, it's really good. It's not as good as the classics, but if you liked the classics, you will definitely enjoy this one, like you just said.
The classics. Yeah. So I loved all the cameos too. There's a lot of cool cameos with just random people that I thought was great. So that ends our general pop culture time. We're moving on to video games. We didn't plan that. I was just hoping you guys would like echo what I was going to say. But
games.
no, it's too late now. It's dead in the water. But we have news on the Miles Morales game coming out for both. It's coming out for both PS4 and PS5, as far as I know. But there's some stipulations to that. So there's too many things for me to know. The PS5. It's just what you guys tell me. What's happening here?
It's definitely you gotta check the fine print. As Kyle mentioned last episode, I didn't want to believe him. But yeah, Sony's been super vague in a lot of this stuff, and now we're getting more in the thick of it now. And the Miles Morales thing. Let's get into that. All right, so Miles Morales, like you just said, it's coming out on PS4 and PS5. Pretty cool. Actually, if you buy for PS4, you get it for PS5 as well if you upgrade. That's really cool. The problem is you can't buy the Ultimate Edition on PS4. You can only buy it on PS5. The Ultimate Edition, if you don't know, comes with the original Spider-Man game from PS4. That's a really good game, but remastered. So it basically takes advantage of the PS5. If you buy it on PS4 and you upgrade to PS5, you can pay to upgrade your copy of the game to the Ultimate Edition, which gives you that remastered version. One of the things that's really interesting about this whole thing is if you get a PS5 and you don't buy the Miles Morales game, there is currently no way to buy the PS4 version or the PS5 version of Marvel Spider-Man on PS5. You can't buy it separately. You have to buy Miles Morales Ultimate Edition to get Marvel Spider-Man. Currently, there's no plans to release it separately on PS5, which is pretty crazy. Luckily, you can upgrade your Miles Morales version if you get the PS4 one. But one of the biggest crazy things is the save problems, from my personal opinion. So if you start the game on PS4, the regular original Spider-Man game, and you go to PS5, you will not be able to take your save over if you're playing the remastered one. Really odd. Yet the Miles Morales one, you can. So I don't know what is with the code like that.
So wait, is the Miles Morales game then is the only game that you can transfer your save.
So far, and that's where it becomes tricky. That's where we're in the weeds now. Because like now, it's like, okay, so this is a problem with this game. Does that mean it's a problem with every game? Or yeah, or and this is a Sony exclusive game. Like this is a Sony game made by one of their studios.
Isn't this something that can be worked out with a patch too, even if it's a problem right now?
Yeah, it's you'd think that would be a possibility. Because if you don't know, if you have PS Plus, all of your saves are actually uploaded into the cloud if you allowed it to do it, and you could re-download those saves onto your PS4 if you get a new one or something happens to it. So theoretically, if you got a PS5, you would think, why can't I take my saves from the cloud and put it into my PS5 as well? I mean, what is stopping this? Like, what I understood was they were very similar infrastructure, so that way you could. That's why it's so backwards compatible. Why they also stated that 99% of PS4 games will work or should work on PS5, which is really cool. This is the first time for Sony in a while. I mean, they used to do this, yeah, but the saves are an issue for some weird reason. But anyways,
yeah, and I hope they should be able to figure that out. They're a big boy company. But you mentioned the PlayStation Plus, which is I believe it's the only one of the ways to play online if you want to play a PlayStation game online with friends or just online in general. And so it also they give free games out that you can download as long as you have the subscription. It's basically the subscription to PlayStation. But they're also coming out with a collection that will be a bunch of PS4 games for PS5, and some of the games on the list that we pulled up here are Bloodborne, the God of War, the 2018 one, I'm assuming, Final Fantasy 15, Monster Hunter, basically like the big boy games from PS4, which we were talking about this a little while ago. I think I own 90% of these already.
I think this is for people who are entry into the because these are all not updated versions as far as I've known. This is actually just PS4 games that'll be available for people who have PS5 and PS Plus,
which is cool.
Yeah, this is like the starter set. You know,
Sony starter set. You want to play with us here? Try these games out first.
Which is great. Like I think getting that's a good model for the company to get people in the door, so to speak. But how about what's getting those people that have been paying for a while, maybe throw a little bonus our way? And maybe I'm missing where that is. I don't.
They've already got you. They don't need to throw you a bone.
But they're losing me. They're losing me though. Like I'm on the fence.
I know. That's the point. Yeah.
So you're right. You're right there. Like, and we have been getting the games every month, but okay.
I feel like that's kind of the mentality behind this, though. It's like, oh well, we've got them, so let's get someone new, and if we lose one of them, maybe we pick up 3 new. I don't know.
Right, and like I said, I don't have all those games. There's a few that I have not played.
I have most of them though.
I mean, I'm not getting a PS5 for a while if I do, but like Persona 5, I've never played that, and that's on there. That'd be cool. Last of Us.
That's pretty cool.
Mastered, I haven't played that. Battlefield 1 is pretty cool. It's an EA game. I'm actually surprised that came over.
I didn't play Days Gone. I heard that was fun, but I didn't play it.
That's kind
of God of War was great. Bloodborne was always fun.
Yeah, they're great games. I'm just I think I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying I have all these.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, you'll still get your PS Plus game, which is going to be cool because if PS Plus is like anything like it is now, I have a ton of Vita games. I'd never owned a Vita, but I just have a ton of Vita games because
I missed the Vita boat.
Giving them out, and PS3 games. I have a bunch of these games that they stopped giving them out, sadly. And so I'm thinking, my big brain up here, PS5's coming out. We're gonna get PS5 games eventually, and so I can start making a little collection. Well, before I get one,
you have your own, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not planning on stopping PS Plus yet, because I'm still gonna play on PS4.
I bought the year; they got me.
Yeah, I think
by the way, I saw your caption the other day in your PlayStation account, and it just says "I live in the woods," and I was laughing pretty good at that one.
But speaking about PS Plus, though, we got 2
Yeah.
games coming up for PS Plus. I threw this little on there because I thought it was cool, and I always get excited when I get the new game that's coming out on PS Plus, and this month is especially
Mhm.
good. I think we were talking a little bit about Need for Speed recently. Tomas likes Need for Speed.
Oh,
Need
love
for
Need for
Speed
Speed.
Payback.
I already have that one.
I don't.
The exciting one for me, Need for Speed
Me too.
Payback. I'll probably get it and just play it because Tomas probably says it's good. I don't know. Maybe it's the worst one. But Vampire is the one I'm excited for. But on sale quite a bit.
I wanted to play that when it first came out, but I heard so many kind of reviews on it, and I was like, I'll just wait till it's on sale. So this is
Yeah.
great because I can just get it for
It's
free.
an independent. It's an indie game. It's so it has a smaller team. It's not like one of these
Ooh.
AAA games, which is why it's a I can't remember what the company's name is right now, but it's one I was following for a little while. This game looks really good, and yes, it's probably not up to the standards of AAA, but it looks like a good game. I haven't played it, and I've heard issues and stuff like that, but for the price. Yeah, I'll try it out, and it may be a gem. So who knows?
Yeah, for sure. I am definitely on that same boat with you because, like I said, when I first heard about it, I wanted to get it, and for free. I mean, there's really not a better offer,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Free quotations, but yes.
My question is it pronounced vampire or vampire? Because that's how I've always said it whenever I see that. Just phonetically, like it.
It could be vampire. Isn't that the spelling of the first vampire movie? I think
In
one of the first vampire movies spelled it like that because they were like afraid of some sort of infringement from Dracula, something like that. I remember seeing that spelling before the game, because I dig into old vampire game movies and stuff. But yeah, but that we're getting off topic.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
By the way, the developer is called Don't Nod Entertainment,
Okay.
and they're based in France. So, speaking of development companies, there was a big purchase this week, or in the last couple of weeks, from Microsoft. Big time. This is big news, and this is going to end our video games segment. But Alan, you got the scoop for us this week on the video games. You've obviously done your homework. Tell us all.
Microsoft. I remember. I think I was blowing up the Discord as well on this one. This is a big deal. Microsoft bought ZeniMax, and that may not ring any bells. Like, what the heck is ZeniMax? Well, ZeniMax is the parent company of a little small indie company known as Bethesda, who makes tons of games that I know. For instance, I know Tomas is a huge fan of Bethesda because he loves Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games.
Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Yeah.
So they bought them for $7.5 billion.
Yep.
ZeniMax, and they were buying it for Bethesda, but they got a lot of other companies along with it.
Yeah. So here's my question for you: is because this is what concerns me is because in our last podcast we talked about what system we're probably going to go with, and I said, well, PlayStation still has the games and hasn't let me down so
The
far.
exclusives, right?
Yeah, the PlayStation has the exclusives.
They have the choice. They have the choice to do all the evil, dirty stuff, or not evil. That's probably too. You can call Sony evil for having Spider-Man, but that's just business. The plan is right now is that it's supposed to be Bethesda is its own division. It's going to have its own leadership. It's going to have its own structure. It's going to be its own thing. If you watch what Microsoft did with Mojang, most Mojang games come out. And for you two, I'm not sure if you know who Mojang is. Mojang is the creator of Minecraft. They also did the new Minecraft Dungeons. And both those games are on Switch, and I think even PS4. I know Minecraft's on PS4. I'm not sure about the dungeon one, but they're both on Switch at least. And I know at least Minecraft is still on PS4. They know how to make money, and I think Microsoft may do timed exclusives. Now, the big thing I know PS5 had some timed exclusives from Bethesda, which were just announced during the PlayStation Showcase. One is called Deathloop, and the other one is Ghostwire Tokyo. Both those were supposed to be exclusively for PS5. Not sure if it was timed or not, but apparently Microsoft has already made a statement that Xbox plans to honor the PS5 exclusive commitment for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. Future Bethesda games will be on Xbox, PC, and other consoles on a case-by-case basis. So yeah, they're probably going to do timed exclusives because they know where their money is, and they know if they make they make Elder Scrolls 6 or the new Star. I had it written here somewhere. The new sci-fi game they're making. They know that if they do 6 months to a year on Xbox, and then after that sell it to PS5, that's just money. I mean, just leave it on the table if you don't do it.
Yeah.
But that's my theory. I don't know.
Well, I hope so, because one of the things that I heard, this is rumor though, I don't have any site to back it up quite yet, but I've heard that they're talking about putting out remaster or a sequel of Fallout New Vegas, which was my favorite Fallout.
No. Yeah, either a remaster or sequel. Yeah. Here's the kicker. Going back to Game Pass, all of Bethesda's game, I bet you anything, Doom 1, Doom 2, we're going to get all the old Elder Scrolls game, Fallout, all that stuff, Xbox Game Pass. And it's going to be all there. It's going to be available at Kyle's fingertips.
Yeah. You guys can't come over either. Get your own Xbox. No, I think it's awesome. Really, there is some. I'm a little bit nervous as to what's going to happen to these companies with the bigger companies consuming it. You know, you look at EA and how they kind of eat up smaller companies, but I think this is a good thing. Like you're saying, like a lot of those games are coming to Game Pass, and several of them I've never played, and future games that come out on the Game Pass is kind of where I'm headed, because you know, with my hesitation towards PlayStation Plus and the collection's kind of like, okay. With this news, and nothing's confirmed, but I'd likely see what you're saying coming true, Alan, is that we get the Fallouts, we get the Elder Scrolls, we get the Dooms coming out on Game Pass, which would just be fantastic. That's totally where my money would go.
Yeah, it's a brilliant business move, and I commend Microsoft for keeping this under the wraps, because this was not him going out and buying Bethesda overnight.
He just went out one day. You know what?
I want
Bethesda.
No, this has been in talk and works probably for the past year and has not been leaked, which is pretty impressive. And to have a perfect announcement right before Xbox went on pre-order is just beautiful on their part. So good on them.
They done good. They done good. So we're gonna move on to tabletop games. And once again, it gets to the table scraps this week because we don't have a lot to talk about. It promised there will be more to talk about when we're actually able to meet up in person. Plus, the video game news and even the pop culture stuff has taken a lot of our time away. But Magic the Gathering has some news this week.
Well, then, if you're talking about needing some time, this can be really quick. So, the new Magic set came out, Zendikar Rising. I don't know about these two, but I play Magic off and on. I enjoy it, but it is hard to keep up with the constant needing to buy cards all the time. The new Zendikar is coming out, and I find it really interesting because it has landfall, which is an effect that I really enjoy. Whenever a land comes out under your control, you get to do a certain effect or ability. The other thing they're bringing back is the kicker. You pay extra land when you play something, and it does an extra effect. And another thing that they're bringing back are the dual cards. They have an effect on one side, and then if you meet the requirements, you can flip the card and play the other side for a usually more powerful effect. But the most interesting that they've brought in, and because we've been talking about D&D a lot, was the new party mechanic. So I am assuming this is because Magic has recently been purchased. Well, I say recently, but it's not too recent. has been purchased by D&D.
Wizards of the Coast has owned both of them for quite some time.
Yeah, I should say Wizards of the Coast, not D&D. They have recently been adding new things in D&D from Magic, like the Leonin and the Centaur and the Loxodon. So this is kind of the first time we're seeing D&D kind of affect the Magic cards. And now what the party mechanic does is you get certain bonuses or effects depending on how many creatures you have in your party. And parties consist of creatures which are cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. So yeah, to me it was just interesting that I hadn't seen Magic pull anything from D&D, and I think that this is a nod at least to D&D. So
Nice. So wait, so Magic the Gathering is actually
yeah,
good for them. Yeah, I played it a few times with you. I enjoy Magic. It's a lot to learn. And
Yeah.
you know, like you said, you played on and off, and like, it's hard to keep up with it. It's almost like you have to pick one of these games and just stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Magic was really fun, but yeah, I just the rules. There's too many rules, and I just know every time I went over to play Magic, it was always there was always some sort of argument.
Yeah, the rules can lead to
Right.
quite some frequent arguments. Yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. Who's faster, Sonic the Hedgehog or Japanese Bullet Train?
It's Sonic. Speed
Bullet
faster than the
Train.
speed of sound. Rolling around at the speed of sound.
It's a bullet train, of course. Sonic doesn't actually exist, Alan. Come on.
Oh my goodness!
And that brings us to the last section of our podcast. we kind of let loose a little bit, and we talk about what games we've been playing as far as video games are concerned. If it was tabletop games, if you guys want to talk about that, that's always on the table. I'm going to stop with the puns. But what games have you guys been playing this week?
Mario 64. I'm gonna just jump in right at the beginning here. I got the Super Mario 3D All Stars. Last 2 weeks, I've been playing a lot of Mario 64 here and there. I am no speedrunner, so it took me a bit, but I got the 120 stars, and now
Congrats.
Thank you. And now I'm working on Sunshine. That game is Mario 64, really fun. Shows its age, but I didn't stop playing. I kept going and I kept going, and even with that camera, constantly causing me problems.
Terrible camera. Yeah, I've been playing Sunshine, and this is the first time I actually beat Sunshine. I did not 120 star.
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, there's sprites, whatever the difference is. They're stars.
Yeah, same thing.
They're stars. But man, this game is the most punishing Mario game I've ever played. Like, and I'm glad they made like more difficult Mario, but that game has moments where you're like, you want to put it on timeout, where you're like, I'm never coming back to this thing. And I get why it's not like one of the most, first of all, well known or well regarded ones. Because man, it's just like and it cycles. It doesn't like ramp up to the difficulty. It's just
that almost sounds like a soul game right there, man.
It is the Dark Souls of Mario is Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
It has moments where you're like, you get punished, and then like the next sprite you go after, you're like, oh, they just gave it to me. I just all right. So I enjoyed it definitely, but I was just very surprised by the difficulty fluctuation of the entire game, and it was a very different Mario with the whole water jetpack thing. But I beat it. I beat it within the 2 weeks since last time. Well, less than that because we got it, but. I'm going to move on to Galaxy now, which I have never beat either.
I loved Galaxy. That is one thing about Mario games. It feels like they just get better. Each one is just better than the last, and Galaxy is amazing.
Well, good. I'm very excited to hear it. I actually own all 3 of those games that are included on Mario 35 All Stars. I own them all, but now I'm playing them because they're on Switch. Go figure.
Yeah.
Tomas, what have you been playing?
I've been working through Amalur still. I am not really a speedrunner either, so I also really like to beat the crap out of my games. So
I don't think they're gonna come around anymore if we keep acting like
yeah, I
Mhm.
have a lot of broken games and bad relationships, but no,
You mean complete the game?
yeah, I like to complete them. So I've been working on that a lot. I think I'm about halfway through. So for those of you that didn't like Amalur the first time through, I would really recommend Reckoning.
It's the re-reckoning, right?
Yeah, the re-reckoning, the upgrade in the visuals and just the flow of the game definitely improved, and so you can get immersed in it a little easier.
Yeah, I never got into that one either, and you talked about it a little bit last week, but you're really selling it for me now. So
Yeah, and it's a great game because the quests, at least what I was doing, the quests never take more than 5 or 10 minutes. So you can do a quest and put it down. It's not like
like by
Skyrim where you're marching along for 3 hours and you still haven't done the first quest that you started.
bite
It's-
size
I'll never
bite
beat
size
that game.
quests. I like that one. Yeah, neither have
yeah.
I. But this brings us to the indie of the month. This is our independent studio companies that make. They're a little bit smaller companies, but we want to give them a shout out, and we're gonna start just doing one indie of the month. And this week, Alan kind of jumped the gun on it, and I haven't played any indie games lately, and Tomas just refuses to play them. So no, I'm kidding. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him one day. So, Alan, what's our indie of the month?
Well, before I start, have you played any of those two? You said you were interested in last time, Tomas. I'm just curious. If you've touched Descenders or Nexamon. I think that awkward silence is a no.
No, I played the one that Kyle recommended, the Tower
Oh, did you?
Defender.
Oh,
Yeah, I played it for like
There you
5
go. All
minutes.
right. There you go. We'll start
I
with that.
you need you need those graphics though, huh?
I don't I need those graphics and I need it is the truth. I am totally a sucker for
Yeah. No,
graphics.
that's fair.
All right.
My fiance always jokes around with me that like I won't appreciate anything unless I have to pay like well, I think you also said it, Kyle. Unless I have to pay like $70 for it, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and that's fair.
I just wanted to see what happened there, but we'll move on to the indie of the month, which I usually choose older indies, usually ones I bought on sale, or there's another one I'm looking at. But right now, I just bought Bloodstained 2: Curse of the Moon. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. Reason I bought this game is I actually really loved the first one, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. It was a little Kickstarter bonus for those who got Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, I think it's called, which I actually haven't played, but I did play the Curse of the Moon, the original, and I really liked it. So when I saw this one on sale and I had some extra gold coins left over, I picked it up. Really excited for it. So to describe this game, it's if you've ever played any of the old Castlevania games on Nintendo, Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, or more importantly, the most one it's related to is Castlevania 3. In that game, it has a system where you actually play 3 characters and you swap between them. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, and Curse of the Moon 2 now take that to the next level. Or this one, you have 4 characters you eventually get.
now, just real quick, just so that I can kind of picture in my head, Castlevania is very similar to like Dante's Inferno, right? That style of game.
No, I don't. I think you're talking about the PS2 game, right?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Well, I think there was a Castlevania game that was like that, but what I'm talking more along the lines is the Nintendo ones. They're side scroller action games with a horror theme,
Okay.
essentially.
Oh, like my old Ninja Gaiden
Yes,
game,
very similar to the old
Guidance.
Ninja Gaiden
Yeah.
game.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah.
but
There you go.
anyways, it's just a really solid game. I would advise checking it out. It's an independent company, but it's actually this one was supervised by Koji. Uh, I'm gonna butcher this last name, Agarashi, who not only worked on one of the most famous Castlevanias, Symphony of the Night, that was kind of his baby. He did quite a few other ones. So it's really cool that they've really gone back to this old style. It looks kind of like a Nintendo game, but there's no way this game could ever run on a Nintendo system. It is very pretty. It's for those who've played Shovel Knight, it's that same style where it looks old, but the graphics are way more colorful. There's more colors on the screen, and they're way more complex than anything that
You
was at
mean
the time.
the old NES?
Yeah, the old NES.
Yes. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's on Switch.
No, yeah, I bought it on
Yeah.
Switch. It's on pretty
Yeah,
much everything. Yeah, but it was published and developed by NT Creates, which is actually a really cool development studio, and they make quite a bit of games. A lot of games very similar to this, where they're usually side scrollers, usually older style graphics. Really good. I highly recommend it. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon too.
Yes. Thank you for the indie of the month. Tomas, we're gonna one of these times we're just gonna force Tomas to do it.
Pick one. Yeah.
Shovel Knight would be a good one though. I
Shovel
think
Knight's a
you'd like
really
that
good
one.
game. Yeah.
But that brings us to our soapbox, where we get to talk about anything and everything. We can rant, we can rave. Say your piece. And I don't know if we rotated this week, but we're just gonna go in order of what I have written down. With Tomas, you're up.
All right. Well, last podcast I got a little serious and had to vent some stuff, and I'm still being very serious here, but I'm definitely keeping it nerd and lighthearted this time. I'm talking about the DC movies, in particular the DC live action movies. I am begging and pleading that this new Wonder Woman, that the new Suicide Squad, that the new Black Adam will all be lighthearted and serious when they need to be, but lighthearted and lively and colorful and not so serious.
Are you serious right now? Sorry. You're on your soapbox. You do you.
I love Batman. Anyone who knows me will know that I can sit down and watch Batman movie after Batman movie after Batman movie. I grew up on it. I don't think I have any other hero that I enjoy as much, but I understand that Batman's world of dark and gritty works well with Batman. That doesn't work well for Aquaman. That doesn't work well for Superman. Could you imagine? Well, we've already had a Superman where he was all dark and gritty. I was going to try and say, can you imagine a Superman that's all dark and gritty? But I mean, we've had it. So
People loved it.
So, I'm saying that DC did a great job with Aquaman, with Wonder Woman, with Shazam. They don't need to ruin what they've got going, because they really screwed it up with the first Suicide Squad. They really screwed it up with the first Justice League. Leave Batman in Batman. DC does more than Batman, so let's have it. That's my soapbox. I'm getting off. Who's up here next?
I agree with you. Like, you can have colorful, cheerful characters coexist in the Batman world even. So totally on board with you. Other than Shazam, did not like Shazam. It was a terrible movie.
I need to watch it.
There's a special place for you. A special place for you.
The rest of them I really enjoyed, even like Aquaman and stuff. Up next, Alan, you take the soapbox.
I didn't really have a whole lot planned today, so I'm going to put down the soapbox and put a table out for discussion real quick. Graphics. You mentioned that, Tomas, and that got me thinking. You mentioned you like good graphics. What do you define as good graphics?
Oh, that's a good point. Let me see.
That is a good question.
Something that visually, artistically matches the story that is being presented.
Well, yeah, because I mentioned Nintendo graphics.
Good answer.
To simple it down, Borderlands. The graphics that are in Borderlands are perfect for it. It's funny, it's slapstick, it's nonsensical, and the graphics don't need to be real because I know this is a completely fictitious place. On the other hand, you give me something like Assassin's Creed, I want very visceral graphics. I want very realistic graphics, because you're trying to sell me that this is magical realism. This is something that could be possible, just like Batman.
You're talking about 3D games. I think I was talking about graphics in general. I mentioned NES like style graphics, side scroller pixelated graphics, for instance.
Okay.
Do you not like those that visual style, or do you not like?
I'm not a huge fan of that kind of
And is it the
blocky
graphics that hold you
pixelated
back, or
style.
is it the gameplay?
It's a lot of seeing myself in motion in the game. It feels jonky. It feels odd. I understand that's what they're going for, but for example, it's like moving around a Lego piece.
So you prefer more realistic graphics. I don't, Kyle, you were going to say
Yeah,
something a minute ago. What is good graphics to you? Do you care about graphics as much?
I do actually, and I found that it's getting harder and harder to go back. Like when you pick up Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, you pick that game up and then you try to go back. A game like Shovel Knight, you're like, okay, Shovel Knight is fun and it's a very different style game. I think both of them fit, like Tomas was saying, there's style and the story, but it does like, man, I want to go back into the snow and I make one wrong flick of the joystick and I'm walking in the wrong direction, so to speak. Like it's becoming more and more difficult to play PlayStation 1 games, like for a really big example, because those are bad. It's the more we advance, it's getting harder to play those. Now they remaster them and they redo them, and like Final Fantasy 7 got a whole remake, like that looks just insane. Like I haven't played it yet, but I played the demo. My goodness, that looks so good.
If I could say one other thing, Alan, in response to what I look for in graphics, I look for graphics where I play games for their escapism, not for their fun.
Really?
So
I can understand your
yes.
yeah, I can understand.
That's fair.
Personally, I love graphics. I'm a huge sucker for the artistic style and everything like that. And a lot of these games that I bring up, not recently, but it's usually very pixelated games. And I've noticed that those games are really hard to sell to people. And I've always wondered why. I mean, I get
Mm-hmm.
why Tomas really likes, the 3D immersive feel. And even you said you don't like going back. Well, I do understand. Yes, well, I do understand the
It's
PS1
harder.
is a very isolated system, even the 64 to an extent. But I would say that Nintendo cleaned that one up more to where they're easier to go back to, whereas PlayStations are ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, I love pixelated games. I love
Yeah.
pixel music too. I love all that stuff.
Yeah, see that
Mm.
like Tetris aside, because I do actually really enjoy Tetris. But Tetris aside, I don't like it when I can see the joints in my picture move. You know what I mean? Like Tetris,
You mean
yeah, like
unnaturally?
when Tetris, you change the shape and it like clicks each time. You know what I mean? I don't want my footstep to feel like a click. I don't want my
Oh yeah.
I don't want the bat suit when I turn around. I want to be able to move my neck, like
I think a lot of what you're talking about, Alan, has some nostalgia attached to it because we play the DK, the old school Super Nintendo games, and I love the look of those. And they're dated, they're a little fuzzy, and I even have a special place for the Mario games. But there is this time we're in now where you can play the newer, Dark Soul games that look fantastic and realistic, but there are all these indie games coming out that have those pixelated graphics, and the younger generation
Yeah.
has just the whole stew.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like they get a choice of, and there's new games coming out. Shovel Knight is obviously, we've talked about it a few times. That's a great example of an old looking game that plays really well and has like an updated combat system, so to speak. And it's interesting to hear what that nostalgia will be for
I'm curious
our
about it as
kids and the
well,
next
but
generation coming
I
up.
know my son in particular, he actually started on Mega Man, then went to Shovel Knight. Mega Man 2 hard. Shovel Knight he loved and still loves to this day. And now he plays Undertale.
Oh yeah, Undertale's a good one.
Yeah. It's also I think it's also maybe a personality thing. It's just like an art thing. Maybe some people don't like certain art and some people do. I enjoy like big, colorful, the pixel like graphics and things like that. I mean, I enjoy like big 3D games too.
I think you're really right about the art, because here's the thing is I am not a huge fan of abstract. I enjoy realism. I love realistic art. I'm not a huge fan of Picasso. I think his work is interesting to look at for a couple minutes, but I'm not like, oh, this is amazing, or or oh man, I can't remember the other guy that just used to paint with like square colors.
Yeah, it's definitely an opinion, and that's kind of where I'm going with, I guess. And I'm going to end this because I've already drowned a lot out during this. But I enjoyed this conversation with you all and hearing your opinions on this topic, because this is one thing that I focus on a lot in my gaming, is I really enjoy just looking at things.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing us in on that. And I'll say this. I think you're onto something there, because I was thinking about what you're saying about, different tastes. And I'm not a big fan of the PS1 look because they did 3D models, but I absolutely love RPGs on the Sega Saturn, which was around the same time.
I don't think I've played a Sega Saturn game, but I was looking at video of it recently when I was doing speedruns. That is a beautiful console, especially the pixelation they did with that game, with the Sonic game and everything. It's got a lot of beauty in that console.
I actually remember my friend had a Sega, and yeah, those games. You're right. Now I think about it, Sega seemed to be cleaner almost.
They use sprites instead of 3D models, and PS1 obviously won that. Sony was the victor in that, so to speak. But the beginning of the 3D models were so rough and blocky, and the sprites still looked so clean and nice, but didn't quite make it. I have more of a heart for that. I still have several of those RPGs on my Sega Saturn, which I adore. But my soapbox, which I'll make brief because we're coming to the end here, is titled, I have too many PSPs, the PlayStation Portable. Currently, I have 6 PlayStation Portables here at my house. I even have, I think I sent a picture to you guys. I have a red, white, and blue lineup of Sony, which is a Japanese-based company, PSPs. One of them is a Japanese model. I have 2 PSP Go's, which is the all-digital version for reasons, because I wanted the white and the black version of that. And I love this console, but I have too many. So I plan on selling one because I'm going to fix it. It's broken. I'm going to fix it up, put a new screen in it, and sell it. But that still leaves me with 5 PSPs, and I'm quickly running out of excuses as to why
it's a beautiful console. The PSP is a very sleek, surprisingly comfortable console to play. I still have my PSP too, so I can understand your love for them.
I love it, and I remember when it came out. To me, it blew the DS out of the water. Even though I think the sales may argue, but like the fact that you could play movies and they sold movies on it, and it was like, go ahead, do what you want with it. You could plug it in and put. It was my first good MP3 player, and I still listen to music on it because I have all my old songs. And then I still watch movies on it. Like I just put it on the side, and I have all the plugs to put on the TV. But at first it was like, I want one for display and I want to use one. And then now I have 4 more. And then it was like, well, I want, to play with my son when he gets older. So I'm collecting them. And my wife is just saying, no more.
You know what you should do is you should mount them all into a frame and then run every single one with the same video at the same time, and then you can have like a whole bunch of like.
If I had a store and I had a storefront with a window, then that would be an amazing idea.
Funny thing about the MP3 player thing, I remember when my CDs got stolen. I think you remember this. It was a long time ago. I had this big binder of CDs in my car, my first car, and it was always, I had a CD player. It was great. They got stolen. I had no CDs anymore. Those were all my CDs. So I had my PSP. So I would just have my PSP connected to my radio. And whenever someone get in the car, just give my PSP as like, put something on. And the looks I would get, it's like, what you just gave me a Game Boy?
Yeah,
what is this?
What are you doing? What, dude, where are your CDs?
Yes. It
was so good though for that. So yeah, CDs sucked.
Yeah.
But, it sucked losing them. But that is my soapbox, and that is our show for this week of.
Yeah.
What's the last day of September, boys? This is it. We're going to the final quarter of 2020.
Moving on.
Yeah, I can't wait till this year's over.
Can't wait. Can't wait for a lot of things. But thank you guys. Thank you for listening to us. If you've made it this far, you get 10,000 extra points, and we're so proud of you. You just might get something special.